Hey elementary kids, it's Jeremy from Kid City. Have you guys ever read the story of Jack and the Beanstalk? If you haven't, it's a story about a poor boy who sells the family cow for a few magic beans. When his mother finds out, she becomes very angry and she throws the beans outside because she doesn't believe that the beans are really magic. But the next day, a giant beanstalk has grown up where the beans were thrown, and the young boy climbs up it to find a magical place in the clouds where there's giants and even gold. The little beans that his mom thought had no value turned into a giant magical vine that actually saved the family from going broke. And even though it's just a made-up story, it reminds me of a real-life lesson. Sometimes the things in this life that seem small or have little value actually turn into things that are great and have a great amount of value. And that's the lesson that we're going to learn in today's parables. So let's look at them together. Today's parables are found in the book of Matthew chapter 13. In verses 31 and 32, Jesus says, "The kingdom of heaven is like a grain of a mustard seed that a man took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is larger than all the garden plants, and it becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and make nests in its branches." Have you ever heard of a mustard seed? If you haven't, here's a picture of a mustard seed sitting on someone's finger. Look at how small that is. Even though it's super small, it can turn into something giant, like this tree right here. Look at how big that is. So, what is Jesus trying to tell us in this parable? Well, he's trying to tell us that the kingdom of heaven will grow incredibly from something small into something great. And of course, Jesus' words end up coming true. After his death and resurrection, the gospel grew throughout the whole world. Even today, the good news of Jesus is spreading to places it's never been before. And Christians get to be a part of that as they tell others about Jesus and why they need to give their life to him. Our church gets to be a part of that growth as well when we present the gospel through videos like this or through sermons or community group. And we do this because the kingdom of heaven is more valuable than anything in the whole world. Our next parable is found in verse 44. Here, Jesus says, "The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and he covered up. Then in his joy, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field." And why did the man sell everything that he had and buy that land? Well, the reason is the treasure in the land was more valuable than anything he owned. And in the same way, God's kingdom is the most valuable thing ever. Nothing in this world can compare to what God has to offer. And just like the man in the parable who gladly gave up everything in his life for the more valuable prize, Jesus wants us to be willing to give up anything that stands in the way of having a relationship with him, because he gave up his life on the cross for us so that we have the opportunity to be forgiven of our sins. Today's big picture question is, why should we live for the kingdom of heaven? And the answer is because it's better than anything else. Make sure to check out our Kid City Praise videos this week, as well as a breakdown of today's lesson in the family worship guide below. I hope everyone is staying safe, and we'll see you next time.